Welcome to the game lounge.
Let us go.
Yeah, that's good. There we go. Oh, this place is so much different without all the people in it. They're actually working now. His Lordship the Rogue Trader wishes to handle the investigation personally. Lord Captain, the 3 officers before you have been tasked with conducting the investigation. The first, Captain Klein, is a veteran with a record of quelled uprisings of mutant abominations in the colonies. Captain Ginevri is young, but she has already preempted several mutinies among the ship's rabble. Lastly, there is Captain Hrotko. His interrogation skills deserve credit, and he knows how to instill fear and respect firmly in the minds of the riffraff. I like how they all bowed as soon as I finished that. Nice. Good timing. After carefully assessing the officers' bearing and their uniforms, Abelard nods with satisfaction. Their drilling is good. Their service records are excellent. Let's see how they perform in the field. What are your findings thus far? We have discovered a worker's corpse mutilated and desiccated. We are still looking into the man's identity and position, but the Chiurgeon's report has confirmed that among all the blood that was pumped into your bat chamber, the blood-carrying mutations was indeed his. That's a lot of blood. Like, that was a lot of blood. I don't think that was one body's worth of blood. I could be wrong. I don't really know how much blood is in a human body in physical form, but I don't think that much. The workers from the nearby decks have all been checked for genetic aberration, but the mutations identified are all within the norm for laboring masses. They are being rounded up for interrogation as we speak. Yarla frowns as she surveys the deck. So much noise and empty violence. I'm surprised you were able to find anything in this pandemonium of your own making. Every dang time from this moment. Yeah, true. How do you plan to question them all? Our interrogation techniques are broad and varied. However, nothing loosens the tongue like corporal punishment. Beatings, mutilations, torture, public executions. Oh, jeez. Sarabak almost purrs as she lists ways of making people suffer. When combined with psychological pressure, such methods work wonders. Okay. A fine approach. I approve. Yeah, I guess. We got to get through like hundreds, possibly thousands of people. I mean, it's not going to be quick. Well, let's return to other matters. Indeed, Lord Captain. Most unfortunate. Do you have any working theories? The mutants are plotting. They've been breeding like void rats, so they're getting cocky. Must have wanted to infect your lordship with their plague. It wasn't an attempt on the Lord Captain's life, it was a threat. The rabble are planning a revolt. So they're trying to terrorize us. Soon you will drown in blood. Insurgents pride themselves on such metaphors. Meanwhile, Captain Hrotko is convinced that it was the work of Voitvir's surviving cultists. However, I believe this to be a warning rather than a threat. What we need to establish is who is trying to warn us, and of what. Alright, what do you propose? The body. Once we have ascertained the dead man's identity, we'll be able to locate his associates and narrow down the number of suspects. Captain Klein is in charge of examining the corpse. The body was discovered on a suspended platform not far from the room with an amphilary sphere. Take a left once you're out of the mess hall, your lordship, and go along the balcony. The corpse is on the next platform after the one holding the Infernus Guild suspects. I'll show you around the scene once you're there. Oh, the Infernus Guild. Yes, your lordship, they are undergoing interrogation like all the rest. The scum refused to comply, so they were isolated on a separate platform. The Inferni are a rotten bunch. They must be involved in this. Oh yeah, I remember I allowed them to be. My people are at your disposal, Lord Captain. Oh yeah, I gotta quickly level him up. Might as well do that. That gives us good armor reduction for bosses.
Keep your wits about you.
The Lord Captain, he's here. Oh, I thought he was murdered in his own bath chamber. No, I was not. I was just flooded with blood. Oh, thank you for the salute, man.
Crimson, black, cerulean, grey. It has all become an ugly whirlwind of muck. Rage and despair have poisoned the bay.
And
Yeah,
the treason has poisoned the whole damn ship. In the interest of dealing with it, I will try my best to ignore this ugly whirlwind you speak of.
It's everywhere, Abelard. What'd you say, your ribs hurt? I'm being gentle, you know. Confess before you really put my back
I
into it.
always have a backup plan.
Oh. Oh, Montag looks like he punched out somebody.
I'm restless.
No, that's not what I want. Imric spits blood onto the deck right in front of the enforcer lying nearby unconscious. Imric's lips is busted, his knuckles are grazed and covered with blood, and there's a chewed up Iho stick between his teeth. Low stick. Low stick. Higher, not low. Slow stick. With a menacing growl, Heinrich looms over the second enforcer, who is holding his baton at the ready. Why are you assaulting my people and denying them water like they're criminals? You've got teenagers and elderly folk here. They're all just ordinary workers. They've done nothing wrong. They're all guilty until proven otherwise. You think a kid or an old man wouldn't do something that might threaten the Lord Captain's life? Once we light a bit of fire under them, who knows, perhaps someone will confess. So, sod off, traitor spawn, or I'll put a baton through your skull or for an attacking an officer. I couldn't care less about your rank. Your Lordship, I ask you to please protect your servants from this abuse. Yep, let's go with that counter class. Give them some supplies. Thank you. We won't forget your mercy. Heinrich, you've always been there for me, man. You've always had my back. Heinrich gestures at a disheveled young woman and a short-haired girl in her teens. Both are dressed in utility coveralls and smeared with soot. Lord Captain, let me introduce my sister Nemi and my niece Mia. Ladies, you should thank the Lord Captain for helping you. Hello, Your Majesty. Thank you for the food and water. For not letting them chop our hands off. That would have left us a little short-handed. Dang, girl. Looking up. Mia snorts and elbows Nemi in the ribs. It's your lordship, and don't make jokes when you're so terrible at them. That was actually a very good joke. Do you want the Lord Captain to change his mind and send you back? This game is so brutal. That was a bad joke. Go back to your beatings. Jeez. Argenta smiles warmly. A feisty one, isn't she? She has the spirit of a true sister of battle. But when I look at her family, I am glad she has someone to take care of her and that the Emperor did not call her to serve him with weapons and fire as we do. Aubrey, your serfs are literate? Are your serfs literate? I could lend them a highly informative pamphlet on etiquette. Cassia glances at Nemi and Mia's grubbly hands and wrinkles her nose. Then again, they would probably just burn it for warmth. That was true. That was indeed terrible. This one gets no rations and no water. God, these guys. You have a fine family, Heinrich. Thank you, Lord Captain. They're all I live for. And thanks to you, the people most important to me are now safe. Yeah, no, I'm not going to let you guys get messed up in all this. Let's see here. Yeah. There's loot over there. I missed it. I need to go back and get loot. There's goods there. I need it. You went to the end. Are you fighting the Ender Dragon? Fighting it in creative mode. On easy mode, essentially.
I always keep
Okay.
my options open.
I always need that cargo, man. Sometime I'm gonna need to sell all that, and I gotta need my money. Alright, this way. Oh. Okay. Any pleas for mercy will be treated as resistance. Right, where was I? Interrogation report D379, addendum A15. Jesus. Transcripts are strikingly redundant. They record everything from the direction of the questioned person's gaze to the length of the pauses between their answers. Wow!
Is there money to be made?
Man, no wonder the Imperium's a bureaucratic nightmare. Ooh. Can I go down there? What's down here? Oh, Klein's over there. Uh-oh. What's going on here, Klein? The worker's ruined body lies in a waxen pile on the platform. His face is crushed, his throat open, and his body riddled with cuts and lacerations. Above it stands Captain Klein, the dim light filling the lines on his forehead with shadows that bleed down his furrowed brows and into the pits of his eyes. The scalpel in his hand trembles faintly. It might look human, but what's inside it is all wrong. Unholy. Irredeemable. Wrong. Have you started the autopsy yet? I have, but I will get back to it in just a moment, Your Lordship. Is something the matter? You look pale. Klein hesitates, avoiding your gaze. I suppressed a dozen mutant revolts on Dargonus for Lady Theodora. I have torn the freaks to pieces myself, but to open one up, To sink my hands into their impure guts infested with the mutant blight. I have seen this aberration utterly pervert the human form. The thought of it touching me, disgusting, infuriating. But I will overcome this. You will indeed, Captain. If you like, I can recite a few paragraphs from the regulations to enthuse you. Coal black fear colors his soul. I doubt it can be cast off by mere force or will. Hand me that scalpel, I'll perform the autopsy. Damn right, let's do it. Get me in there. Get in those guts. Feel around. Grab the squishy bits. Willpower test succeeded. Oh yeah. The skin and bones part, and the stench of rancid meat hits your nostrils. Klein empties his stomach over the deck railing. Fighting the urge to vomit yourself, you peer at the vile mass of subhuman entrails. Vestigial ingrown arms wrap around what look like the vile semblances of familiar organs, interlaced with scaly, bile-colored sacs. So he's got arms inside of him, wrapped around his organs. So like, imagine like little baby arms wrapped around your heart. Lore, Xenos test succeeded. Your knowledge of Xenos is enough to infer that the murdered man may have been subject to Xeno influence. True human form has not been simply distorted, but mixed with something strange, something profane. It is as if you are dissecting a seed that should have evolved into something more complex and alien. I really hope that's not the Tyranids. That's gonna suck if we have a gene stealer infestation here. That's gonna suck. Argenta reflexively raises her weapon when she sees the mutant's rotten insides. The fiery rage in her eyes seems capable of incinerating the abomination as thoroughly as any flamer. Investigate the entrails. Oh, I failed. Dang it. The twisted abnormalities of the mutant's insides make you wonder if he can even be considered human at all. As you probe deeper, your hand finds something lodged in the victim's gullet. Something has stuffed a black feather into the man's throat. It is difficult to say why. It could be meant as a symbolic gesture or perhaps a message. I read about something quite similar. Clutching a handkerchief to her face, Cassia leans over the body with interest. Saint Kieran was looking for traders, and the Emperor answered her prayers with a miracle. A raven quill appeared out of her mouth and wrote down the names of the enemies. Oh, Emperor, please give me the names. Jeez. And the righteous woman prayed to the master, beseeching him to reveal who had plotted to destroy her. And he heeded her call, and the feather of a raven sprang from the maiden's mouth, and, as if guided by his hand, brought forth the names of those who had nurtured foul treachery in their minds. The legend of St. Kieran, verse 15. It is a sign, Aubrey. Oh, is it? Oh, I even failed a medical test. Oh, jeez. I'm not doing good here now. The haphazard miscellany of gruesome wounds suggests that the man was tortured for a long time before he died. You noticed bruises on his ankles. The killer must have hung him upside down like cattle to drain him of all the blood. Okay, I try the identifier marks. With some difficulty, you are able to discern a mark on his neck, almost ruined by the wound across his throat. It is a tattoo of a skull with a valve in its mouth and a string of letters and numbers encircling it. SP-24601. I have finished the autopsy. Offers you a rag soaked and disinfected. That was foul. Your lordship, I must commend your fearlessness and insight, and apologize for my weakness of spirit. My shameful fear prevents me from doing my duty. It will not happen again. Shame on you, Captain. An officer's duty is to be a support to the Lord Captain, not the other way around. If that burden is too great for you, you should consider resigning. I speak plainly, veteran to veteran. He has a tattoo. What does that mean? That's the symbol of a pipe warden clan that maintains the sewer systems. The SP stands for Senior Pipe Warden, followed by his identification number. All right, then. Ginevra is working on the work log cogitator. She can use it to learn the victim's name from his number. The cogitator is in the nearest maintenance room. What about the feather? Well spotted, your lordship. No doubt you have already reached the same conclusion, but I will state it for the official record. Vile mutants do not make allusions to saints. This was someone versed in the creed. He dips his head deferentially. You have been a model of fearlessness and competence. I will aspire to follow your example. That is all. All right. Well,
rise to the top,
go that way, then.
or get left in the dust.
It's over here, then. Loot! I see goods. over here, Tech Priest. Oh, Ginevra, you are obstructing the investigation, esteemed Tech Priest. I require the information stored by this machine spirit. If you refuse to cooperate... Petition rejected. A malady has befallen the machine spirit of the honored Master Cogitator Iota I-3B. Unauthorized anguish will worsen its condition and impede treatment. I will not stand for such acts of brutality against the Great Elder. I'll show you brutality, you blasted cog. What's going on here? This greatly esteemed Tech Priest, Andromeda Phi, does not seem to realize the importance of investigative action and refuses to grant anyone access to the Master Cogitator. Andromeda Phi's Mercandendrites creak as they bow before you. Exalted ruler of the vessel, I meant no harm, but to protect. I merely care for the machine spirit's health. It has fallen ill of late, and now its temper is worse than ever. If the laywoman starts torturing it now, the venerable spirit may take offense and leave us forever, taking the logs of the lay people's toils with it. This must be prevented. This statement is true. The incident catalog on this vessel contains no less than 12 instances of grievous loss of data due to disrespect shown to the machine spirit by unauthorized units. Why do we need access to it? The work logs are on it. They might contain important information that will lead us to our suspect. Andromeda Phi's box explodes in a furious binaric roar. Ooh. This laywoman does not even understand what she intended to inquire the Blessed Elder. Blasphemous disrespect! But we need to investigate it. Ruler of the vessel, why do you insist on interrogating an elderly soul when it is such in such a miserable state? You are making a mockery of the Omnissiah's tenets and the privileges of the priesthood of Mars. You have my word. You may even observe it. Access privilege is granted. I reserve the prerogative to interrupt the interrogation the moment I detect the slightest threat to the machine spirit. Granted. At your approach, the lumens in the Master Cogitator's bulky hull light up peevishly, and the cooling filters breathe an exasperated sigh. The machine spirit appears to be in a rotten mood. In the name of upholding the blessed axiomatics, I am initiating the accompanying tech service. Pascal's mechadendrites writhe like snakes in a sacred dance. One of them reverentially docks with the Cogitator's dataport. Oh, calculating machine spirits, blessed in the omniscience, luminous in the darkness of ignorance, may the regalia be revealed. May the prayers of access be said, may these restrictive circuits be removed. The Cogitator lets out a serene sigh of dust from its ventilation grate. Gotta show respect. After an unnecessarily long verification process, the Cogitator recognizes the possibility that you may indeed be the ship's Lord Captain. A string of technolingua on the vid screen tells you that you may now input your request. Humbly ask for the data. Beside itself with anger, the Cogitator sprays you with sparks. As its vid screen dims and flickers, you hear a spiteful whir and find yourself staring at an incomprehensible mess of symbols. Apparently, the spirit refuses to comply on account of some blocker A403. Oh, the spirit is truly unwell. Why else would blocker A403 prevent it from sharing such data, especially after a log ritual of greeting? Okay, observing the critical distortion of sacred code, initiating the sacrament of hibernation, and anointing the holy machine's data cards. Tech use. O Deus Mechanicus, bestow an impulse of miraculous transformation upon the nospheric spirit of this machine, and it rise again from its sacred data dream. Noospheric. The unction as well as the short breather have done wonders for these old spirits' disposition. Mollified, it wipes the data blocker from the vid screen and agrees to indulge your inquiries. Ooh, I wonder, can I inquire? Aha! Succeeded. You managed to find the right string of tech commands. With a grunt, the Cogitator starts whining on about its woes. Just as today's watch began, someone disturbed its data dream, used some trickery to rob it of its data, then befuddled its elderly mind and instructed it to deny access to anyone else. Someone is messing with the ship. Registering a Category 3 act of sacrilege, resulting in a Category Epsilon Quadro transgressive scenario. Requesting the inclusion of the offender in the registry of wanted entities for the purpose of expiative disposal. This is a game. If you really want to work on your enunciation and your speaking, this is the game to do it. Request information about the number SP24601. After mulling over your question for a while, the spirit recalls that the number is assigned to a senior pipe warden by the name of Orto. This Orto and his partner spent the last watch servicing valve 27-B, which supplies water to the Rogue Trader's chambers. After finishing up the maintenance, only Orto's partner reported in. Aha. That's the same valve that was used to pump the blood into the bath chamber. That must be where they killed Ordo before dragging his corpse onto the deck. Alright, give me some information about his partner. At first, the cogitator feigns ignorance out of spite, pretending not to recognize your request, but after 4 more attempts, the spirit takes pity on you. Ordo's partner was senior pipe warden Gwedon, number SP268-55. Gwedon has not reported for duty since the incident. Well, that's not conspicuous. We have our suspect. It looks like Gwedon killed his fellow worker and put on his entire bloody spectacle. Hrotko is the one responsible for arresting the rabble, so he'll be our best candidate for shedding some light on this Gwedon character. Gwedon. The honored machine spirit is tired. It cannot bear any more of this torture. I see that you got what you came for, so I would ask that you let the elderly have their rest. Activating the deep hibernation protocol. Pascal's mechadendrite disconnects from the master cogitator's data port in a respectful motion. The trill of binaric prayers lulls the elderly spirit's fading lumens. May the Omnissiah bless this machine with healing slumber, that the sacred unity of its anode and cathode may be purified and shine once more. Alright.
Let us not dawdle. Keep your wits about you.
There's loot over there. Where's the loot? Give me the loot. Give me the goods! Hrotko looks on with indifference as his people use their batons and legs to interrogate the serfs. Upon noticing you, he nods curtly. Your lordship? Yeah, if you find Gwedon. Frowns as he taps on his data slate. Gwedon, yes. We have him here. He is waiting his turn. We will bring him over at once. Get rid of that guy. There we go. I have been informed of your decision to question one of the suspects, Lord Captain. I consider it my duty to be present for the interrogation, so that I may ensure your safety. Sounds good? I mean, there's a ton of people around. Before you stands a gaunt man in his work clothes. His face was swollen from the bruises, and several of his fingers are broken and sticking out at odd angles. He stares vacantly in the distance with watery eyes. Why does he look beaten half to death? These are merely the preliminary measures before the interrogation begins in earnest. Your lordship, a suspect becomes more inclined to speak if you give them the baton first. Standard procedure. Okay, wow. You haven't even gotten to the interrogation yet, and you've already got busted up and fingers broken. Start talking, you miserable wretch. You tried to kill the Lord Captain, didn't you? Hrotko grabs the worker by the lapels. Gwedon's coat flies open, revealing a crude occult symbols painted all over his body. What's this? Heretical brands? Cultist scum? Oh, yes, it was me. I tried to put a curse on the Lord Captain. I killed my partner in a wicked ritual, rubbed elbows with them daemons, consorted with them, all to carry out a dark plot and doom the Lord Captain for the glory of my almighty master. Oh, his words. He is trying to paint them over with fake garish hues, but his abject terror carries with it too much black and gray. What does he hope to accomplish with this? He has admitted to everything, the vermin. I have insisted time and again that the assassination attempt was carried out by one of the Voigtvir's surviving henchmen, and I was right. I guess we weren't so thorough in clearing them out as we thought. And who is this? Master Malachi the Dreckful. Him, yes. The name sounds strangely familiar to you. Perhaps such a demon does exist. How'd you kill your partner? Why am I failing all these tests? Well, I grabbed myself a rusty star and started hacking at him. Then, I pulled out a dagger made from virgin's bones and stabbed him. Oh, right. I also cursed him first. It was only right. Oh, yeah. The body was badly disfigured. There is of every possibility that a saw could indeed have been used to inflict some of the wounds. Aha, I got the warp test. These are my cultist marks, so I can put curses on people and talk to demons. He pokes a finger at an uneven semicircle with 9 arrows coming out of it. That's not right. This one's called the Hame of Terror. It represents the 9 archdemons. I always pray to each one first thing in the morning. But no, it's an 8-pointed star. That's not right. You are unimpressed by this half-baked attempt at drawing the 8-pointed star of chaos. Yeah, that's not right. He was surprisingly quick to talk. Oh, requires heretical follower. He realized he was done for. Besides, a heretic will take any chance they get to gloat about their wicked ways. Oh, okay. I guess we can't really be done. Yes, you're... Uh-oh. Not so fast. Saurbeck interrupts the officer without taking her eyes off Guidon. You, cultist, whom did you say you serve? Master Malachi the Dreckful, him. Yes. Malachi Dreck is the foreman of the 5th Food Depot and known to skimp on his meals, you halfwit. Is that the most terrifying figure you could come up with? I assume that our suspect is not who he claims to be. Our murderer here is a fake. The symbols on his body are all wrong and only recently painted. I won't be surprised if it turns out that this is not even Guidon. We will proceed with the execution, and Captain Rothko is in for disciplinary action. Lord Captain, the evidence you have collected is sufficient to apprehend the culprit. I will report to you in the mess hall, and we shall bring this investigation to a close. Oh, there's goods here. Yeah. See, that's why you gotta look everywhere. I need all them trade goods. Alright, back to the mess hall here, and let's get this whole investigation done with. And then maybe we can get to Dargonus. That was the main plan of today. The real Guidon has been found and is being escorted here as we speak. Are there any remaining questions you wish to address before we hear from Guidon himself? Someone attempted to mislead us. Undoubtedly, let's go over the facts we have on this sabotage and compile them. Someone sabotaged the work log cogitator so it would be harder for us to find the victim's partner, who might have information valuable to the investigation. Who had access? The tech priests did not let anyone near the cogitator. They even tried to prevent the enforcer's investigation. Ginevra, you were there the entire time. Yes, ma'am. Since the start of the watch, I went there right after I handed the body over to client. The only time I stepped away was to retrieve the data slate from my quarters. I left a watchman, but he went missing. Most likely, one of the officers did not realize he was on duty and sent him off on some errand. But I was only gone for a few minutes. Very convenient. A missing sentry, a data slate misplaced against regulations. Sits tightly nestled. I don't understand how I could have forgotten it. I always check my gear when I go on duty. Handle this yourself, Saurbeck. Leave it to me. I will not rest until I get a confession. A real confession. In the meantime, let us get back to the assassination attempt. What if it's you? The pipe warden does his best to remain reverentially bowed, which paints a rather comical picture given his formidable height and complexion. Oh, he's huge. Oh yeah, he's huge. He lowers his head, tugging at his beard. Senior Pipe Warden Guidon, honored to serve, Lord Captain. I'm ready to confess to everything. Well, you are the real one, are you not? I am, and proud of it. Lord Captain, a Pipe Warden's craft is hard work, but necessary. My number is SP-268-55. My work partner was the late Ordo, number SP-246-01. I oversee the water supply systems on the upper decks, sectors A3, K8, and R2. That includes valve 27B. There can be no mistake. I have verified his identity myself. It has also been confirmed by the other workers. Why did you fill my bath? I did as the servant of death commanded. She said the Emperor gave the first spinner a sign, that your lordship should be bathed in the blood of poor Ordo, my partner. And I was scared, so I obeyed. The first spinner? Are you talking about the vizier of the blood-spun web? Yeah, that's him. He leads the death cultists, the lot who worship the Emperor by killing. His spinners hunt down heretics, but sometimes they take the righteous lives too. Their service is mysterious, fervent, and bloody. With an acerbic smile, Heinrich blows a stream of smoke from Saurbeck's direction. What a shocking turn of events, Jocasta. The Inferni are innocent. Who could have seen that coming? Could it be that you were wrong to brutalize and humiliate my people? Do not expect an apology from me. I was doing my duty. You can play the victim all you want, but I haven't forgotten the circumstances under which your blasted clan came to be on this ship. Consider every strike on your backs a reminder of that event. What is the meaning of these? It's a story of days long past, one that Mistress Saurbeck greatly enjoys reminiscing about, as if she was there herself. My ancestors committed a trespass against your ancestor and were made Inferni as punishment. I'll be sure to tell you the tale some other time. I must concede as much, Lord Captain. The story can wait. We should first find out why the blood-spun web thought to bathe you in repugnant blood. Oh, they're just weird. Did you kill your mutant partner? I didn't kill him. I didn't know he was a mutant. Ordo and I always got along, even if he wasn't much for talking, but Then a servant of death came from the darkness, ended him quickly but harshly. She bled him dry and put a black feather in his throat. She told me to pump blood into the pipes, and then she left. I wanted to confess, but I was afraid she'd come for me too if I did it. Whom do you mean by the servant of death? A holy slayer in black and crimson and bone, feared by all they are, quiet and merciless as death itself. They come from the shadows to kill because the Emperor commands them so. You have already met the servants of the Bloodspun Web, Lord Captain. Their grim procession is not one on the upper decks will soon forget. Summon the Vizier. As you wish, Lord Captain. Your Lordship, if I may ask, what happens to me now? I never meant to anger you. I thought I was doing as the Emperor willed it. But here we are. I'm a simple man. I know pipes, and I know them a lot better than all this people business. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I can still smell rust in the metal, though not so much in people's thoughts. Give him an ocular implant. Let's get. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Your Lordship. I'll serve you faithfully. Never forget your mercy.